Good morning and welcome back to Worshipping at Home. Somehow it's Sunday again already. This week, as promised, you won't just find a sermon on our website, you'll also find some members of our congregation, some of our regular readers, reading today's lessons. So please do take time to include those in your Worship at Home experience. We're also going to try and hold a get-together of sorts on Zoom at 11 o'clock following from our worship time. So if you're able to join in with us for that, it'd be lovely to see you there. Full details of how you do that are on our website. So now let me share a few thoughts that I've had about today's reading. I wonder if you're a walker. It won't come as a great surprise to many of you to know that I'm really not much of a walker. I'd much rather whiz around on my bike, and of course, like many people, usually I use my car a great deal, citing time or lack of as a reason and an excuse. Recently though, our daily walk allocation has become a joy, not a chore. It's a time which we spend together. And suddenly, like so many individuals and families across the country, when many other options of what we could do are removed, suddenly there is time to walk. And not only that, there's time to walk slowly, to meander rather than rush through a dog walk, to stop and look at the spring flowers, the bright green new leaves that have appeared on some of our trees this week, the brilliant painted rocks that have been hidden to entertain children going on their daily walk all around the village. I know that many of you are shielding and long to walk again. And those of you who, unlike me, really are walkers, are looking forward to a time when you're able to stray further afield. Over the centuries, walking to a special place has had a particular meaning for people from lots of different faiths. They call it a pilgrimage. And the journey is just as important, even maybe more important than the destination itself. At times in history where long journeys to important places overseas became impossible because of various wars and illnesses, the pilgrimage routes were shrunk and people started to go on smaller, more domestic visits to places around our own country. I've been mirroring that a little bit and shrinking things even further and walking my finger labyrinth in the study. The passage that we've got from John's Gospel today as our Gospel reading, our main reading of the service, is a story all about walking. And really it's about what we do when we walk, the level of attention that we pay to our surroundings and to those we happen to be walking with along the way, to what's noticed and what is not noticed. Of course, the disciples weren't walking out of choice. They were walking because that's what you did to get somewhere in those days. You didn't have an option of a car or a snazzy bike then. And as they walked, of course, they talked to those that they were travelling with and to those that they met on the road. It was a sociable thing to do in many cases. It was also quite a dangerous thing to do sometimes. And in this case, the disciples who we read about actually get to walk with the risen Jesus. They tell him all about their woes and their troubles and what's been happening to them in Jerusalem. And the Bible says he talks to them about the scriptures, that he breaks them open, that he tells them what they're all about. But it isn't until later in the day when they persuade him to stop and spend some time with him in the evening to eat with them that they recognise who he is. He breaks bread and they see him, and then he vanishes from their sight, just after they've recognised who they've been walking this road with. Now, I don't know if Jesus intended to hide himself from them until that point, or whether it was simply that they were so caught up in their own troubles that they didn't see the great wonder at their side, the wonder right next to them. Either way, the story has a lot to teach all of us about what it means to be present in a situation and what it means to be aware of where we are. This week, I've been a bit fixated, I have to admit, on when things will change, on when I'll be allowed to do this and when I'll be allowed to go there, when I'll be allowed to see these people again. And in those moments, I fail to notice where I am now. And I fail to notice too where God is in the midst of where I am now. Because he is here. He's here in my kitchen and he's here all around us all of the time. I don't actually have to be able to go anywhere to find him. Elizabeth Barrett Browning said, "Earth is crammed with heaven, and every common bush afire with God. But only he who sees takes off his shoes. The rest sit round and pluck blackberries." I've been plucking blackberries this week, and I needed a bit of a shove to notice where God is around me. For me, that involves a little bit more deliberate quiet time. Those of you who are alone in isolation will laugh at the idea that more quiet time would even be possible. But what today's passage reminds all of us, whether we crave peace or company, is that we can choose to live intentionally seeking God, in the noise and in the quiet, in nature and in other people, in ourselves and in our own homes. Or we can be so caught up in our woes and our worries that he could walk right down and sit next to me at the table and I wouldn't even know it. It's our choice. It's my choice. It's the freedom that all of us have been given. I was reminded this week of a prayer that says exactly what I'm trying to say, perfectly and far more eloquently. It was written by Anselm, who was the Archbishop of Canterbury an awfully long time ago, and on whose feast day fell last Monday. And it goes like this. Oh my God, teach my heart where and how to seek you, where and how to find you. You are my God, you are my all, and I have never seen you. You have made me and remade me. You have bestowed on me all the good things that I possess. Still, I do not know you. I have not yet done that for which I was made. Teach me to seek you. I cannot seek you unless you teach me, or find you unless you show yourself to me. Let me seek you in my desire. Let me desire you in my seeking. Let me find you by loving you. Let me love you when I find you. So that's my prayer this week. And I hope and pray that you too will see and know God on your walk through the days ahead. God bless.